Hello, friends and neighbors. Let's talk about a word fitly spoken.
Welcome to A Word for Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us. Each Wednesday you will find Boggs Family Ministries is here with our host, Davy Boggs. Having you along with us is a wonderful addition. Now, let's enjoy together A Word for Wednesday.
Thank you, Brother Devin, and thank you for joining us on A Word for Wednesday, talking about a word fitly spoken. That phrase found one place in the Bible, Proverbs 25, verse 11. Listen carefully. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in pictures of silver. I never read that verse. I never think about that verse without thinking about a sermon that I heard preached in the early 90s at Allentown camp meeting near Mobile, Alabama by Brother Wayne Caraway. I do not remember his text, the idea that he took from that text. I do not remember his points, but I do remember that message shook the meeting and affected us deeply. I do remember the illustration he told that he built the sermon around. I have never forgotten, and I've heard many others talk about how that story affected them. I'm not going to tell that story today. It might be a good story to tell sometime, but I do have a powerful, true story that illustrates this that I will tell near the end. If you can only stay with us a few minutes, you might fast forward to that, but I'd love for you to stay with me here just a few minutes. A word, a right word, a word fitly spoken. I want to tell you, Brother Wayne Caraway affected my life with that sermon and hundreds of other people. Our words are important. It can be a word of instruction. It could be a word of correction, but most likely it is a word of encouragement, a word that builds someone up. But a word, no matter what that word is, spoken at the right time, in the right spirit, is like apples of gold in pictures of silver. Or you might think of it as a setting of silver. Apples of gold in a setting of silver. A beautiful display. The right word, spoken with the right spirit, spoken at the right time, is a beautiful display. It's like gold and silver. It is beautiful. You know, you can build your children up. You can build your spouse up. You can build your friends and neighbors up with your words, or you can destroy them with your words. I thought about this just the other day. Kelly and I were exiting a motel on our way to church on Sunday morning. A young man, he was a great big teenage boy, but you could look him in the face and realize he was just a boy. He was pushing the luggage cart for his family. It was quite full. I didn't see what fell, but I heard, he was on the other side of the car from me, I heard a bag fall off of that. Man, that happens to us so often. It seems we can't get in and out of a hotel without dropping something falling off. It's just the nature of the thing, stacking all these different size things on there. But his dad, who was a mountain of a man, we saw them earlier. No wonder this big boy was so big. He's tall, but a boyish face, because his dad was a mountain of a man. He was just walking out the door, probably 15 feet behind this luggage cart and the boy pushing it. And he tore into him with a torrent of foul language, calling him everything but a son. It was all I could do to keep from defending that boy and saying, hey, here, let me help you with this. I wasn't close to him, but I wish I could have got over there in time and picked it up for him and just demonstrated for the dad, you can be nice to people. Now, this man wasn't talking to me, but I have asked people this question when they've just cursed and cursed and cursed. I've done it on the job. I've done it in public when someone is directly speaking to me and every other word is a foul word. I've kind of caught them off guard by asking, hey, where'd you go to school? Did we go to school together? And it always catches them off guard. And they say, oh, no, I went over to Central High over in this certain town. Why? Why would you ask? And I say, very carefully, I'll say, well, you use the same 3 or 4 words over and over and over again. I was just wondering where you went to school. And it always gets a very humbling response, or almost always does. Probably not a very nice thing to do, but I like people to know that their language betrays who they are. But it's not just their language, our words betray what we are. Are we full of the love of Christ? Then our words will be life-giving and affirming. We can build people up just by being kind with our words. Our words have power. Now, I'm not talking about, crazies that say you can speak cancer into existence or you can speak cancer out of existence. Now, God can, and we can ask God to do that, but just because you say, man, I sure would hate to have that cancer, doesn't mean you're going to get it. And just because when the doctor tells you you have cancer and you say, I do not, it doesn't mean you do not. I have known people who died saying, I do not have cancer. But you cannot speak cancer out, because it says, I'm not talking about just the power of just the word and you can cancel out reality. I'm talking about the words we speak over others and to others. Hey, you're doing a good job. Man, that was I've never seen anybody do it like that. Thank you for stepping in for that person. Man, that sure was kind of you. Man, I loved watching you do that for your mother. That was great, the way you stepped up and did that for that elderly person right there. We can build people up with our words. How about this, brother? I know you're going through it and I can't do anything about it, but I sure do love you. And I thank you for the time that you encourage me. And I'd love to encourage you. I'd love to do something for you that would make this road a little easier, and then make yourself available to do it. Make somebody a pie. Take it to them. Tell them you love them. Watch after them. Care for them. Our words are powerful. Our words can make people want to live. And our words can make people want to fade away in a ditch somewhere. I have seen people beat down by words, and I have seen people built up by words. There's so many stories running through my mind right now that I can tell, but I want to get to this story that I ran across just the other day. This was told about a month ago, or less than a month ago. I got this from a rabbi that I listen to sometime. I do not want to do him a disservice by mispronouncing his name. I would need to hear it said a few times. I just no way I can read it. And so I will put his name below because I want to honor him and I want to give him credit for this story. He told of an interview that he read in the New Yorker magazine. And that interview powerfully illustrates what I'm trying to tell you today. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in pictures of silver. The New Yorker magazine interviewed a forensic psychologist for the San Francisco Police Department by the name of Jerome Motto. Mr. Motto used to do the forensic work for the police department when it appeared that a person had jumped from the Golden Gate Bridge. They would find a body. They did not know whether it was foul play. There were no obvious signs of foul play. They would find the ID. They would get the fingerprints. They would interview. They would identify the person, give that identity and all his credentials and facts to Mr. Motto, and he would do the forensic work to try to determine whether the death of this man or this woman was voluntary or the result of foul play. Now, that's a difficult task because he cannot interview the person. They're already gone. How do you make that determination? And he was a psychologist, but he couldn't interview him to find out his state of mind. So he would trace the deceased person's last steps, examine their last few weeks, maybe even few months, talk to the neighbors, the family, the relatives, the co-workers, and try to determine if this man or this woman what was their state of mind the last time they were seen or heard from. Mr. Motto said there was one story that shook him horribly. He could never shake it loose. He could not get over this story. A body was discovered in the water under the bridge. Mr. Motto visited the man's home, which was part of the protocol, and he found a note on the man's dresser, as he had found dozens of other times in cases like this. However, this note was different than anything he had ever read. The contents of this note that this man left behind, that is what shook him to his core. The note said, "I am walking to the bridge now. If one person stops me on the way to the bridge and says hello, I am turning around and coming home." How many blocks away did this man live from the bridge? Did he have to take the train? Did he have to take the subway? Did he have to call a taxi? How many thousands of people did this man walk by? We can only assume that the man walked from his apartment all the way to the Golden Gate Bridge without one person speaking a word to him. Otherwise, he would not have jumped. Oh, the power of a word fitly spoken. There can be life in your words, friend, just by saying hello, just by saying, "How are you?" and really being interested. How about saying, "God bless you," or "Can I help you?" or asking someone, "Are you okay?" and really listening to the answer. A word fitly spoken can change a life. A word fitly spoken can save a life. This rabbi that told this story ended the part that I saw on this by saying, "Do not underestimate the fact that you can be that person for someone else." Wow. A word fitly spoken. Apples of gold. Pictures of silver. So much more I could say and want to say, but that is my word for Wednesday. Take a moment to consider it. Thank you. God bless you.
That is our word for Wednesday. We are so glad that you've spent a few minutes with us today. If you've been touched by today's episode, please share it with your friends and family. We welcome your questions or comments below or by email. You can find the email address in the description, along with a link to mile markers, the website for Boggs Family Ministries. Also, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thank you again, and we hope to see you next Wednesday.
Ciao for now.